Star Wars is known for its iconic villains like Darth Vader, Palpatine, and Maul. But of course there are a number of secondary antagonists that make up the universe, so let's take a look at some underrated villains inside of the Star Wars universe. Starting off with Dran Boss, the front leader of Crimson Dawn, and of course we all know Maul was really running the show, but Dran Boss was the frontward face of Crimson Dawn.
Well, it's good to have you. Welcome. And you too, Chewbacca. Welcome.
Boss was hosting parties of lavish wealth aboard his yacht, the First Light, which acted as his mobile base of operations, and he was a ruthless and well-mannered villain.
Well, I admire anyone who can crawl their way out of the sewer.
In one scene he's drinking cocktails, in another he's killing a man in a back room. He likes to have a good time, but he's not someone to be double-crossed or short-change.
We should do this again, it's been fun.
Great.
Oh, and just one more thing. If you do fail me again, we'll all be out of options.
And I do like how Dryden Boss will not always hire hitmen to get his hands dirty, as he does end up killing a number of people with his Petar blades. And his office is full of cool Star Wars references and lore like in Jabba's palace, and overall Dryden Boss shows us what life is like at the top of a criminal syndicate. Good times and bad crimes.
All right, let's eat a little, drink a lot, and talk privately. You know who I answer to, and you know what he'll expect of me. He'll say there have to be consequences. So here's what I need you to do for me. I need you to give me a reason not to kill you all.
The next underrated villain is the Separatist warlord and Karkadan Riff Tamson, and he's another example of a good villain who has a very small role inside of the Star Wars universe. And he fought on side of the Confederacy during the Clone Wars, disrupting the peace on Mon Cala between the Quarren and Mon Calamari. He supported the Quarren Isolation League and exploited the inequalities of Mon Cala, and a civil war began. And the Karkadan kidnapped the prince and led the attack on Mon Cala's city with a wide array of custom droids for underwater assaults. He was a good leader and diplomat, as he did peacefully negotiate the Quarren people getting out of the Republic Senate, and he fought with a purpose, as on his homeworld Carcanus, his people were facing an ecosystem collapse. It was mostly ocean and scattered with small land masses that served as the planet's spaceports and heavy industry. And these pockets of industry were of course used mainly by the Republic, and they overall were threatening to kill off the reefs and poison the environment for the native Karkadans, or in other words, facing a genocide. And overall, I think it's a very cool species in the Star Wars universe, and there's plenty of lore within the Clone Wars that makes Riff Tamson fantastic. And of course, we do know that he does end up dying, fighting for the Separatist Alliance on Mon Cala, but nonetheless, seeing him in action underwater is very cool, and I definitely think we need to see more characters like it that use a unique species as a villain. And then the last two underrated villains are Imperials. And of course Imperials are mostly no-name stormtroopers or high-level generals or officials like Moff Tarkin, Lord Vader, and Admiral Thrawn. And I think Garrick Verio is an underrated Imperial for his dedication to the Empire. And during the Emperor's death and carrying out his contingency plan, Operation Cinder was basically one step below a Death Star strike and one step above Imperial occupation. Glassing planets with orbital bombardments from space, it was a punishment to the Empire and the galaxy when Emperor Palpatine died, destroying loyal planets loyal to the Empire and Outer Rim planets alike. The Empire has failed and there must be consequences, and Garrick Verio helped carry out these orders.
The Emperor is dead.
So what happens now?
We retaliate, Commander. The Empire will assault the very foundation of the rebels' pathetic belief in themselves.
Admiral Versio, Operation Cinder is to begin at once.
Operation Cinder is the last command of our Emperor, and the first step in securing our future.
Fighting the Rebellion and the New Republic all the way till his end on the Battle of Jakku, where he went down with his ship and stayed loyal to the Empire even after these terrible acts of basically genocide and his own daughter joining the Rebellion.
This is where I belong. I gave my life to this empire. Fought to keep it strong. Hard to believe this is all that's left.
Garrick Verio is the definition of long live the Empire, and we need more Imperials with his level of dedication. And finally, Dr. Hemlock puts the science in science fiction and being the antagonist of the Bad Batch. He experimented on Force-sensitive children and clones for the greater good of the Empire and Sith technology, personally reporting to the Empire about his advancements and progresses in his sciences. He's a cold and calculating villain with the power of the Empire behind him. He even has a secret lair where he holds children hostage and builds super soldiers for the new Empire. And his works were typically kept off the record to maintain the facade of peace and stability within the Empire, and he was doing experiments on the clones, which are now classified as Imperial property. And Royce Hemlock was the chief scientist of the Advanced Science Division of the Empire and spearheaded Project Necromancer, which was the scientific research necessary to clone Palpatine during the First Order.
The specimens within are now your responsibility. They are vital to this project, and thus must be handled with the utmost care.
And he was expelled from the Republic Science Corps after his ideas were considered unorthodox, and the Empire allowed people like him to flourish, and an unlimited budget and backing for his advancements in his specific line of science.
The funding you have requested, Hemlock, is quite substantial.
Science is not something you rush. And with more clone troopers being decommissioned, I have found a new purpose for them. Test subjects to aid in my research.
Hemlock also showed himself as a competent leader, constantly one-upping the Bad Batch in his war crime-like battle tactics and extorting anyone who stood in his way.
That's not very strategic, Hunter. You don't need to use your enhanced senses to know you're outnumbered.
Dr. Hemlock was a great villain for the Bad Batch and a great reason for the Empire to be hunting down Omega.
Hello, Omega. We were just talking about you. I came to return you to Nala Se. She needs your help.
He's lying. They killed the Kaminoans.
Incorrect.
And all of these villains show us a detailed look at what crime looks like in the Star Wars universe besides a basic Sith Lord and apprentice, as Dran Boss shows us more of the criminal underworld, and Riff Tamson shows us the separatist point of view during the Clone Wars, and Royce Hemlock and Admiral Versio show us the dedication and evil acts of the Empire. And we need more villains like these in the Star Wars universe, and who else do you think is a underrated villain in Star Wars? Comment down below, subscribe if you'd like, and until next video, goodbye.